The first problem is that she's the evil queen. The evil queen is supposed to be envious of Snow White's beauty, and that is just not believable. Even in a movie with magical mirrors and dwarves and all that, that strains my ability to suspend disbelief.
Probably the biggest aspect of disbelief you have to suspend is the idea that Gal Gadot, as the wicked witch here, as the evil stepmother, is somehow less good looking than Rachel Zegler.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
Come on, gang. We ain't blind.
Disney doesn't know what a Disney princess is anymore, which is crazy.
What happens when a fairy tale turns into a Hollywood nightmare? Disney's live-action Snow White promised to breathe new life into a timeless classic, but instead, it's become a tale of clashing stars, a crumbling box office, and a studio scrambling to save face. Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, two names that should have lit up the screen, are now at the center of a storm that's left fans buzzing and Disney reeling. Buckle up, because this drama's wilder than anything in the Enchanted Forest.
Disney's Snow White was essentially a box office dud. Early estimates suggested that they would take in 48 to 58 million in the first weekend. Apparently, it did 43 million in its first weekend.
Let's start with the stakes. Back in 1937, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs wasn't just a movie, it was the spark that ignited Walt Disney's empire. The original animated gem charmed the world with its simple beauty and groundbreaking animation, setting the stage for decades of magic. Fast forward to 2025, and Disney decided it was time to dust off the classic for a live-action glow-up. With a $270 million budget and a modern twist, they aimed to recapture that old magic, but something went seriously off script.
$270 million. Obviously, it was going to win the box office. It's the biggest movie at the box office this weekend. But, for example, Disney's Cinderella, which for my money is still the only good live-action Disney remake.
The numbers don't lie. Early estimates pegged Snow White to rake in $48 to $58 million on its opening weekend. Instead, it limped to a measly $43 million. Sure, it snagged the top spot at the box office, but for a film this pricey, that's a gut punch. Compare it to Cinderella's $67 million debut in 2015, still hailed as Disney's best live-action remake, and you see the gap. This wasn't the triumphant return Disney banked on, and what happened next would shock everyone.
It's going to be a gigantic box office failure. But the trend that you're noticing is that the worst performing of the Disney movies in terms of live action remakes are basically everything in the last 5 years.
At the heart of the mess is a casting choice that's got fans scratching their heads. Picture this, Gal Gadot as the evil queen, a woman so stunning she's practically a real-life goddess, pitted against Rachel Zegler as Snow White, the supposed fairest of them all. The whole story hinges on the queen's envy of Snow White's beauty, but here's the snag. Most folks can't buy it. Gadot's radiant Wonder Woman vibes outshine Zegler's doe-eyed princess in a way that feels laughably lopsided. Fans aren't blind, and they're calling it the dumbest twist Disney's ever pulled, but that wasn't the whole story.
And that is a combination of wokeness and the pandemic. And now you better have a good reason to get people to the theaters, and this ain't it. The movie apparently is not very good. I haven't seen it yet. I would be shocked if it were. Again, the star, Rachel Zegler, is unbelievably charmless in public.
Rachel Zegler didn't exactly help her case. The young star burst onto the scene with talent to spare, but her off-screen antics have been a PR train wreck. Her Free Palestine post last year lit up social media, racking up 8.8 million views and a firestorm of backlash. Then came her digs at Trump after his 2024 win, prompting Disney to slap a social media guru on her team to keep her in check. Zegler's unfiltered takes might have won her some fans, but they've also painted her as charmless to a chunk of the audience, and that's when the real sparks started flying.
Studios really need to go back to what they originally did, which was tell your stars to shut up and not say things, because no one is paying to hear your star say offensive things off the screen.
I wanted to talk to you because you might be as happy as I am at the failure of Snow White.
Enter Gal Gadot, the poised powerhouse who's not taking this sitting down. Rumors say she's fuming behind the scenes, and who could blame her? After Zegler's post, Gadot, an Israeli native and ex-IDF soldier, faced a wave of death threats so severe Disney beefed up her security. Whispers of her going bananas over Zegler's antics have only fueled the fire. Their political divide, Zegler's pro-Palestine stance versus Gadot's pro-Israel roots, turned a professional gig into a personal battlefield, and it was about to get uglier.
It's been 2 years, and it's been one of many now predictable Disney failures. and it's more than just a movie at this point, because normally I wouldn't even watch a princess movie, but it became such a punching bag.
Things hit a boiling point during a planned commentary session for the film's digital release. Disney hoped Zegler, Gadot, and co-star Andrew Burnap would dish out fun behind-the-scenes tales. Instead, it turned into a shouting match that staff had to break up. Zegler demanded Gadot zip it about Israel, fearing more backlash, while Gadot fired back that no one's silencing her beliefs. The 2-hour session collapsed, and even Bob Iger stepped in to nix a Zegler-only track, knowing it'd scream cast implosion to the world, but the damage was already done.
The culture war and a symbol, and Rachel Zegler has become the symbol of everything that's wrong with modern Hollywood right now.
Critics aren't cutting them any slack either. Snow White's sitting at a rotten 42% on Rotten Tomatoes, with reviewers slamming its uninspired direction and cartoonish CGI that looks more jarring than magical. Even the Disney shills, those loyal critics who usually cheerlead, are jumping ship, calling it a misfire. Audiences echo the sentiment, mocking everything from the dwarf redesigns to a finale that flails between modern grit and fairy tale fluff. In an era of slick effects, this felt like a step back, and fans noticed.
And the audience has spoken. They were, honestly, Glenn, they were every trailer that hit YouTube was getting ratioed into oblivion. And yeah, so Disney was telling you exactly what this movie was going to be, and the audience was telling them exactly what they thought of it. And now, unsurprisingly, it's flopping.
Disney's not new to live-action stumbles, but this one stings. Mulan flopped. The Little Mermaid underwhelmed. Now Snow White joins the list of remakes that can't recapture the old spark. With a budget rivaling Marvel blockbusters, the studio expected a hit, not a debacle. Insiders hint this could force a hard look at their remake playbook. Why keep churning out these costly updates if they're alienating fans? Something's gotta give, and it might be sooner than we think.
This movie, her reaction, the way they did all of it, I think this is part of the undoing of that era as well.
These were movies made with a mindset of identity politics, intersectional feminism, which really goes against what Hollywood had done for hundreds of years, sorry.
So where does this leave the stars? Zegler's taking the brunt of it, labeled box office poison after a string of flops. Her insistence on steering the narrative, pushing her songs over Gadot's Evil Queen arc, hasn't won her favors. Hollywood's whispering she might be too risky for big gigs now. Gadot, though, has the A-list armor of Wonder Woman to shield her. She's not unscathed. Her Disney ties could cool, but her fan base might keep her steady. Still, the fallout's messy for both, and Disney's stuck in the crossfire.
And sure, you could, yes, it's made in 1937, but it boggles my mind that Disney took the film that built their empire.
Yes.
That it is a paradigm shift movie that is sacred text in Hollywood, and just threw away the original script and gave us, and I'm not kidding, communist propaganda.
Why do you say that?
Snow White. It really does feel like they did massive reshoots during the strike. So they tried to fix some of it, so it's kind of half a fairy tale.
Here's the kicker. Snow White was supposed to be a slam dunk, a fairy tale reborn for a new generation. Instead, it's a cautionary tale of how cast chaos, shaky execution, and a tone-deaf campaign can tank even the most sacred story. Disney's scrambling with last-minute tweaks and damage control, but the stench of failure's hard to shake. So what's next? Will they bury this on Disney Plus and pray we forget, or dare to touch Snow White again someday? One thing's clear, this flop's left a mark, and it's got us all wondering what magic they've got left up their sleeve.